So in 2021, I bought a 2015 Nissan Leaf. The payment for this car was around $200 per month. And my justification for buying it, besides needing a car at the time, was that it would basically pay for itself in gas savings. The other option was driving the Chevy Suburban, which gets like 12 miles per gallon. So, you know, that was the theory. And plus, I really just kind of wanted it because it was an electric car, and I really like electric vehicles, and I hadn't had one before. I have electric bikes, but, you know, no electric cars yet. So this was the first electric car, and of course, I loved it. Amazing vehicle. The battery was in good condition. It was fast, silent. It had heated seats all the way around, and you could set it up so that it would defrost its windshield in the morning automatically. And I still feel really good about the vehicle today. But, you know, that kind of justification or that theory that it would pay for itself is something that I've always wondered about. And so I decided I needed to dig into the numbers. So in the middle of February, I bought and installed an Emporia energy monitor to my breaker box. And I set it up so that I could actually find out how much energy is being sent to the charger for the Leaf. And that in turn allows me to know how much I'm actually spending on charging it. And, you know, I reset the trip odometer tonight because we're at the end of February because I want to get some real solid numbers. So in March, I will get some really rock solid numbers, like here's the number of miles for March and here's the number of kilowatt hours, here's what it cost. But of course, I did get some numbers for February. And to be honest, they're a bit of a letdown so far. Man. So I clocked in 511 miles over 225 kilowatt hours. And a kilowatt hour is basically an energy unit. So you can think of a kilowatt hour kind of like a gallon of gas, but electricity, right? And each kilowatt hour, each unit of energy costs 15 cents. That means it's costing me about 6.6 cents per mile to travel in the electric car, just from the perspective of electricity. We're not talking maintenance or anything like that. If I compare that to a Prius, which, you know, the newer Prius gets 50 to up to 60 miles per gallon, but I've had a Prius before, and I usually average around 45 miles per gallon. So if we assume that it gets 45 miles per gallon and the gas right now is $3.28 a gallon, then the Prius costs 7.2 cents per mile. So the Leaf is 6.6 cents and the Prius is 7.2 cents. And that's a bit of a letdown. Now, granted, it's also a slightly unfair comparison because you're comparing one of the most fuel efficient vehicles to an electric car. And so, you know, you want to compare it to an average car that gets 30 miles per gallon, you're going to be spending a lot more. And it also doesn't take into account oil changes or potential engine problems. But on the other hand, we're not taking into account the cost of a battery when you have to replace it. And so I think it's interesting, and I'm somewhat surprised. Now, there are some caveats to this because I can switch to a particular energy plan that allows me to charge overnight for 8 cents per kilowatt hour instead of 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So that would bring the cents per mile from 6.6 down to 3.3, and that would be a major difference. But so far, it's not enough of a difference that I would say it's necessarily paying for itself. Although I had to buy a car, so when you compare it to the Suburban, it probably is. Anyway, I'm going to continue to drive it throughout March. And honestly, it's probably going to get slightly better range because right now it's been averaging 2.27 miles per kilowatt hour. But part of that's because it's below freezing and, you know, it's heating itself up in the morning. So I think in March it's going to do a little bit better. So we'll see how it does. And I'm going to do a pretty thorough analysis once I have the data. But I just wanted to put this out there because, you know, sometimes you buy something and you make these justifications in your head But it may have been a better option to buy a Prius, because the Leaf has 80 miles of range. The Prius has 300 miles of range and can be refueled extremely quickly. Dang it. Anyway, that's all I have for that right now. Look out for the next video in, it'll probably be April 1st, although I guess no one will believe it if it's on April 1st, but we'll see how that goes. And also I have that doctor appointment about ADHD coming up this month. So that's going to be real interesting. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.